Welcome to the Academy of General Dentistry podcast series featuring Dr. George Schmidt. Each episode features experts in the field of dentistry who share insights and inspiration to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. We're recording live here at AGD2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we're at another amazing AGD scientific session. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and ring that bell. That way you'll be among the first to hear all things AGD. We're going to do things a little differently today, as I'm going to introduce my guest, Dr. Cassis, and Bruce is going to interview me for this session. Bruce?
So I am so happy to turn the tables on you, George. You've done such an excellent job with the podcast for the AGD over the years. Give me a number.
So thank you, Bruce. Thanks for that. And I want to say, I believe this is our 100th podcast episode.
About that, I think I knew that in advance, maybe. But it's about time somebody interviewed the podcaster. Like I said, you do such an excellent job with it that it's time to see what makes it all tick. Okay. So let me get you first. Let me ask you about your most favorite podcast. You don't necessarily have to say names, but you know how dental professionals are. They get squeamish when it gets mentioned. And how many of them did you put in the trash can or ever published?
So that's a great question. And first, let me just say that we could not do this program without an amazing team here at AGD. And of course, our producer, Kristen Gold, she just does such an amazing job of scheduling the guests and bringing everyone on and making things so easy for me. But I think as I think back over those 100 shows or 99 shows, it's really hard to put my finger on one guest. We've had so many really fantastic moments and fantastic guests. You, of course, were one of those guests, and we're very honored to have you
I
here.
didn't make the top 10, but that's okay. I understand my role.
But very early on, you came on, and sort of when we were getting things going and getting our feet wet, and we appreciate that, and we had a really great conversation. But again, we had so many great conversations with you. It's really hard to do that. We had some funny ones, some serious ones, some very personal stories over the years, and over the last couple of years. Yeah, it's really hard to.
Okay, since we're interviewing the podcaster today, where would you like to go with this?
Geez, Bruce, I don't really know. I don't know.
I've got a direction, but you might not think the same.
So let's say what I always say to my guests is, you go ahead and start it, and I'll just follow you wherever you go. So I'm going to turn the table back on you.
Okay, and I'll tell you. Just start wherever you want to, and let's see where it goes. Everybody in the listening audience should know that George is an excellent interviewer, especially made for the podcast series. And in his current role today as the vice president, president-elect, he's already done the vice president. It was a great year, by the way, right? Now he's president-elect, and he's your president of this coming year. We're all looking forward to that. But go ahead and talk about what you think have been some of the highlights. How do you get information out of that?
So I think one of the things that we try to do, or I try to do in the podcast, is we don't have a set slate of questions. We basically just have a conversation. And that's what I always tell the guests. We're just going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation like we're having a cup of coffee or a bottle of beer. And I think that's important when you try and have those conversations. It makes the conversation flow much easier. And I think that's something that we really do. So I don't try to draw necessarily. I have an idea in my mind about where we want to go on a couple of major topics. And I try to weave things back into that conversation here. But I think just letting things flow naturally is the very best way that you can let things evolve. And just bring out the natural emotion of people and the things people want to talk about.
Yeah, I see that in every podcast that you do. They really are beautiful. So, how did you decide that you wanted to get into this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's been one of the highlights of my career. Of course, I've I've been a wet finger dentist. I've practiced. I've done education, a lot of these things. And I think that being in leadership is one of the things that's really been one of the highlights of my career. And early on, back in dental school, I was involved in, heavily involved in orthodontist dentistry in terms of, leadership at the school. Took a little time off after that, and then I came back and found the AGD, and felt I could really make a difference by contributing. And I started locally in my local component. Back in New Jersey at that time. I was in Florida now, but I was back in New Jersey, Region 4. And just worked on some councils and committees and then worked my way up through the chairs. And from there, I went on to be council, the scientific meeting council, communications council, and sort of just, that's where it went from there. And I would encourage anyone in the audience who has a passion or think they can make a difference, however big or small, or if you have a talent, we would really love you. I think there's so many things that we can do for our profession, and I would encourage you to do that. Bruce, of course, is past president of the AGD, and he's followed a very similar path.
Yes, I have, and those are the same qualities I see in you. You really want to do good for everybody, especially if you have the ability to share, give more than what others want to do. And talk about your family a little bit.
Yeah, so I have my wife and 2 children, and we're all down in Florida now. We're, of course, native New Jerseyans, and we're down in Florida now, South Florida area. And my wife is retired. She's happily retired. She worked with me for many, many years in the dental business. My older son is a dentist. My younger son has also been involved in dentistry, the business end of that, in New Jersey medical practice. So my younger son was down there in Florida with us. He's still continuing on in that route. So my son has a practice in South Florida. And we're just enjoying life down in sunny Florida.
And so you found another passion that you reignited teaching.
I am. So as I mentioned earlier, over the many years, I've always been a wet finger dentist, but after nearly 30 years in private practice in New Jersey, I sold my practice and moved to Florida. But the entire time I was in dentistry, I was almost always teaching. About 10 years after I got out of school, I went back and I taught at Rutgers, pre-doc at Rutgers, and then over at NYU, where I was involved in the implant program and taught 5 years over there. And then I went down to Florida, and I thought maybe I was going to retire. And that lasted about 3 months. And so I had a great opportunity to get on board at Nova Southeastern down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I started there as an adjunct and very quickly went on to take a full-time position as the implant director at Nova Southeastern. And I really do enjoy that. I love working with the younger dentists. I love working with the kids. And it's really a great bookend to my career.
And so it's a lot different than private practice where you're the boss and have to know everything for everybody and so on and so forth. And now you're giving back to the community of education. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I would say so. So yeah, thanks for that. So I mean, there's a lot, as you know, in education, there's a lot of responsibility in terms of making sure that the students get the very best education available. But different responsibilities, different challenges, and no, unfortunately, I'm not the boss. Got a lot of people under me, but there's a lot of people above me, and it takes a little experience to maneuver and manage in that kind of environment. But it's very, very, very good.
So my final question for you, November, you become president of the Academy of General Dentistry. What are you looking forward to?
So I'm really looking forward to the upcoming year. As you know, that's another big responsibility, and I look forward to that challenge. And we've got some major issues facing us in dentistry overall, and of course here at the AGD. But we're looking forward to implementing all the things that we just have on our new strategic plan in terms of governance and so on and so forth. And I'm looking forward to continue my predecessor, Mark Ward, the current president of the AGD. He's just done such a fantastic job. And I'm looking forward to just continuing on and making sure that the trajectory of the AGD continues, and of course, making sure that your legacy survives through that as well. And we all make sure that we're continue to head in the right direction.
Yes, it is the best organization out there for organized dentistry, for general dentists. There's nothing better out there. appreciate you taking the time, George. I know everybody was happy to hear a personal story behind our AGD podcaster. Thanks, George.
Well, thank you, Bruce, and thanks to our audience for being a part of our program over the last 100 episodes. We all appreciate that here at the AGD. I'd also like to thank our producer, Kristen Gover. She just does such an amazing job here at the AGD with our program. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to our channel. You can always find us on the AGD app, SoundCloud, on Spotify, and of course on YouTube at General Dentistry. With any questions or concerns or comments, please email us at news@agd.org. Thanks again, and of course thanks to Bruce Cassis here for stepping in and taking my role as the host. And we appreciate you, and thanks again, and we'll see you next time.